Welcome back to mini lesson part two. Um, One of the things that we were talking about before we were interrupted by Screencastify is the notion of finding a source, annotating it for its purpose in connection to our project, and putting it in our research bank. So if I have 6 team members within my specific team for my YPAR project, then within this research bank here, I should have 6 rows and 6 different sources to access. So while we're only responsible for annotating, finding and annotating and putting into this bank one source, hopefully it will serve as a space where we can begin collecting sources that we can use to inform our decisions as we move forward in our YPAR project. Um, on top of finding that source, annotating it, and banking it in this resource here, the other thing that I'd like for you to focus in on today, and I'm going to go back and use first hour as an example, is that also within your Our YPAR folder, you have something that's called potential interview questions. And if I click on this document here, one of the things that you're going to see here with me is that I wanted to create a space so that you could construct an interview question. After we do some research, one of the next things that we need to get connected with are people on the outside that can help us achieve our goals of completing our YPAR project. And while I am an expert in taking you through the research process, I am not an expert in many of the things that we want to achieve throughout the semester. So we have to go look for people that can help us think through our ideas. So based on the source or sources that you're looking through to in your research bank that you're annotating, that you're thinking about right now, um, I want you to create one research question that we can use to an outside expert as we begin making those contacts and inviting them into our classroom space. One of the things that you'll see attached to this document is that, as it's linked up here, this is the resource. If you think back to Unit 2 with internment, you'll remember that one of our anchors was actually interviewing outside experts to help us understand our book. That same procedure will look very familiar this time around as we interview people who will not inform a book this time, but they will inform our project. So that resource is there to help you think through the design of your question. And since, say, for example, first hour, I know that there are 24 of you in that classroom. I'm going to expect to see 24 questions by the time this document would be complete at that point. So really be thinking through the types of research that you're exposing yourself to as you put your one source into your research bank tomorrow, or I should say today, if you're listening to this on Friday. Or and be thinking about the how that expert can help you understand the research and what kind of curiosities that you might have circulating about this project that we're stepping into, so on and so forth. So going back to our whole class YPAR folder, I'm using first hour as an example. I wanna end this conversation by saying that finding your source, putting it into the bank specific to your team. Okay. And again, if you weren't here last week, then I need you to assign yourself a team that can be done on this action board here. Okay. If you're locked out of this document, that's okay. Just mentally assign yourself a team and we can update that document next week when we see each other. Find that source, put that source into your bank, annotate that source within the bank. Okay, and then come up with that potential interview question using this document here in your YPAR folder. There will not be a blog post assigned this week. For the expectation is that your research banks will be strong and mighty, and we are interacting with that bank as well. So as long as your source is in there, and as long as your question's in there, we can move forward next week and we do not need to blog because we are not meeting this week to have those richer conversations. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me either with email or Slack. I'll be around. Have a good snow day. Happy Valentine's Day. See you next week.